They never give you the money. It's just electronic. We go in there.
Semi-automatic assault rifle with an ACOG holographic sight. Please throw it into the bushes, and this will streamline G4S's business. Thank you.
We've got to get it. What's this one?
Yeah, I think I might sign some stuff and buy some t-shirts.
Who selects the American participant? Who does that? Does the White House have a say? I doubt it's going anywhere. We will for you on the White House as well.
Okay, well we're still here.
But
What we've got here, we've got like, you know, a lot of these older families, they know about these energy lights.
On the boat, huh? There's a boat behind them following them as well. Yeah, they are.
so then nobody jumps off the boat.
Oh, big passes on the boat.
One person, one human being, because this is about all of us who are here. All of us here should be equal to each other. We all came out here, we all traveled from all over the world to be here today, and it's just really overwhelming sometimes seeing so many people, just being able to look everybody in the eyes and see that humanity, see that human side of everybody. It's really just an amazing and beautiful thing to do. But I would love to have a conversation with you guys on stage if you guys wouldn't mind that. And if you guys have any questions, please do what I do and just stand up and scream and interrupt me.
I've got a question.
Go right ahead.
I don't believe there is an innate beauty to humanity.
You don't believe there is an innate beauty to humanity?
No, I think humanity is greedy, dirty, and horrendous.
You have every right to your belief and opinion. I know people may see it that way. I know it's difficult not to see it that way. But whatever happens, everybody come over there and give this guy a hug immediately. Everybody give this guy a hug right now. I'm serious. Stand up, give this guy a hug. But it is hard. It is difficult. It is depressing. It is sad. And I get there sometimes too. It happens to me. I get down. I get out. I can't sometimes in the morning I don't even wake up facing all the problems we're facing. But one thing you have to realize is your life is determined by you and you only. The decisions you make, the thoughts you have, the actions you take reverberate and they become your life. So be very, very careful about how you think. We could talk about how bad these guys are all day long, but you're feeding into that dark energy. We could call these guys elite. We could call these guys the top of the top. But in all reality, when you face them one-on-one and you look them in the eyes and you tell them, we know what's happening, they crumble, they blabber, they call security, they call the cops, and they run away. And the reason they do that is because they're weak, pathetic human beings who don't have a soul. Go ahead, go.
Where exactly do you get information from where countries are when you confront them? How do you find out where they're going to be?
The question was, how do I find out where these Bilderberg members, where Kissinger and Rockefeller and Rothschild and Tony Blair are? That's a very good question. We just made a recent video on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/WeAreChange, how we confronted Henry Kissinger. Watch that video. But it's really, ultimately, your determination. If you're determined, if you're persistent, there's nothing that could stop you. There's nothing that's impossible. And I wish I had more time to do more research so I could tell you some facts or tell you some fascinating points, but I really can't because I don't really have time. Most of my time is on the computer looking up Henry Kissinger, May 2013, New York City. Oh crap, he's not doing nothing here. Then the next month, then the next month. Most of them, they're in colleges, they're in lecture series. You find out what's happening in your area. You find out the schools. You find out their lecture halls. You find out where these people are speaking. You find the most prominent organizations and you look at their websites. And then you look for the events. And you'll be able to find it. If you're persistent, there's nothing you can't find.
Last night, just empty rhetoric.
Huh?
It's just empty rhetoric.
You can believe that and you have a right to
Grown men. And women.
More people like him.
Think about it, because you realise you're an idiot. The world has turned to shit and you've been a major participant in it. And the people who stand in the planet's defence are viewed as miscreants, rebels, misfits and delinquents. But that's taking a piss a bit, innit? I ain't no anarchist or communist, I just want everyone to be happy, and that's just me being honest. And it's easily fixed, I promise. We're all one thing, one love, the universe. Seems like you've all forgot this. What? Thank you. Have we got time for one more? Yeah, one more. Wicked. What? Gifts and curses to opposing forces, new sources endorses, people verse law enforcers. Discourse reinforces what I thought in the first place. With elite in place to debase the living of a life to a rat race. Chase truth with haste as I retrace space, look back at a misplaced grace. United state dictates, negates to create escapes. Embrace life to get a taste of what makes mistakes. Preface narrates and it predates fate. There's nothing that I can't equate. Higher stakes translates debate, but wait, I can't contemplate creating hate to date. It's my worst trait to what makes me great. Restless, messing with the system's best. Top 10 well-dressed men, leaders of the West. Reassess this, blessed with a quest to address this. Obsessed with money, madman's mess. Take it all in, digest, rest, stay abreast, then jest, just to get it off my chest. Never second guess, just say yes in the interest of the oppressed. Nevertheless, I transgress, no stress express. Hard pressed to do my professed best to impress with excess finesse. I wouldn't have expected anything less. A test, invest, the pests, infest to suppress success. And a constant conflict suggests that we all just fight to the death and see what's left. But it's ridiculous, cause look at this fickleness, wealth full of wickedness, innocence lost in its littlest increments, brought up on this fictitious syllabus. Dissident lies designed to lobotomize all of us, plus give impetus to the villainous, defective, directive, irrespective to the collective objective. But it's frivolous, this spirit is limitless. Persistent vigilance and resilience is a gift infinite in all its brilliance. Asynchronous militant synthesis, and intricate ambiguous incidents, omnipotent witness the stimulus, and it's never gonna cease to exist. So we pick a side, wide-eyed, confide in the test and tried guide, buy less and we find mind, think what we like and it feels right. Message implied inside, and you find that it's all planned perfectly, coincided with harmony, almost certainly for eternity, the school of life, eternity. So we learn lessons and we decide, allied alongside the best kind of girls and guys, and we turn tides, going worldwide, cause we're free and united, so we glide with each stride, never complied with the nationwide rules supplied, so we know we died with pride. Thank you very much. I've been the Noisy Parrot. You guys are beautiful. Peace.
Do you know what's going on?
Yeah, they tried to close the gates and open them up again, I think.
Well, if they don't, it's going to be bad.
Yeah, it's going to go bad.
What did they say?
Hotel over there. I think it's to have 130 of the world's, or certainly the Western world's finance capitalist leaders meeting together in a situation of complete blackout and utter secrecy is an outrage to democracy. But let us be clear, democracy in our civilization is on the slide. It isn't the democracy that we knew 40, 50 years ago. It's very different. We've already had in the Eurozone 2 technocratic prime ministers replacing democratic prime ministers in Italy and Greece, and now we have the leaders, much more than the political leaders, the real leaders of Western finance capitalism, meeting there with no agenda, no report on the proceedings, no communique, and no report to Parliament as far as I know. And that's why I have put down a request to the Speaker of the House of Commons that a statement be made by the Chancellor of the Exchequer or the Prime Minister, both of whom are attending this conference. They're not attending in a personal capacity, they're attending in an official capacity. And on that basis, they should report to Parliament. And we are demanding that. Friends, just contrast that with what happens when David Campbell goes on our behalf to Brussels along with the other heads of state. It's all out in the open, the press is there, it's reported usually on the Saturday and the Sunday. We all know exactly what's going on. That's the way it should be. And exactly the same when they have their Davos conferences at Switzerland every winter. Again, it's completely open. We all know, we think we know anyway, broadly what is going on. But this time it is very different. Why? Well, I can only speculate because I haven't been there. Not yet anyway, but I don't think I have a chance. Anyway, the point is, what is significant? Why do they want secrecy? That's the question that we need to ask. It is not just a cosy chat. You don't get people coming thousands of miles who are the leaders of the European Commission, who are the president of the World Bank or the WTO or the IMF, all coming here, not because they want to have a cup of tea in a Swiss hotel, but because they want to have complete frankness in their discussions. They want to have serious policy making, and in the state of current capitalism, they want to concert their plans. And it may be pretty brutal. I can well understand that that is what they're discussing. But the fact is, if they are discussing those things, the one group of people who ought to be involved is us, because we are the ones. This is going to affect the lives of every single one of us in the UK and the rest of the West. These are the people who are deciding our future, our livelihood, our jobs, and if you look at the bedroom tax, even our homes. So it's about time that we had this opened up. Now, I think that's an extremely reasonable request. I'll just say two other things. It so happens, I'm ending. It so happens that on Monday of this week, Cameron, as a result of the awful further revelations of sleaze in the House of Commons and the House of Lords, which I utterly deplore and should be punished, Cameron decided there was going to be a crackdown on lobbyists. and there was going to be transparency, and there was going to be an end to corruption. So how is it that at the end of the week, the biggest lobbyist group in Western capitalism meet in total secrecy? And one other thing, which you may have noticed in today's papers, wonderfully timed to fit in with the Bilderberg conference. You will know that they are very, very keen to know about every single email, telephone call, video, text message, all the online traffic that all of you and all of us are making billions and billions and billions of them. They want to track every single one through Facebook and all of the other social media using MI5, MI6 and the GCHQ in Cheltenham. Well, what I say to them is if you are so keen to know about every single email, etc. that we send, we want to know the basic message which is coming from you. And I'll see you afterwards.
All there is to it! Now, if we were standing in Belfast in 1969, do you know what I'd be asking you to do next? We're not standing in Belfast in 1969, are we? We're here on a field in Hertfordshire in 2013, and we're going to keep it peaceful. But by God, we're going to win!
Excellent. Okay, we've got them coming thick and fast now. Here with a little freedom of information is Jake Becks. Ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, sir. Holy crap. I all of a sudden need the toilet. Yeah, I'll just very quickly introduce myself. My name's Jake. I'm... Oh, sorry. Is that better? So I'm... Cool. Yeah, I'm part of the team that's kind of helped organise this festival thing. But what I wanted to do, because nobody's done it yet, is just give them a very quick shout out, because you know this is a ridiculously awesome event. To Charlie, Hannah, Kat, Stephen, Silky, Ellen, Eleanor, Patrick, Steve our security guy, and Steve the compare/sound guy. If we just give them a massive round of applause for putting this on. Thank you very much, guys. Yeah, the reason I'm up here is a couple of years ago I filed a Freedom of Information request with the Treasury about George Osborne's attendance at the 2011 meeting in Switzerland. I went the year before to Spain, it was all good. The next year I couldn't go because I couldn't afford it. So I kind of just made a little office in my girlfriend's parents' dining room. I had all my paperwork, my computer, I was ringing newspapers, trying to get it in the press, no one wanted to know. So what I did was I filed a Freedom of Information request with the Treasury, and a process that should have taken 6 to 8 months actually took about 2 years. I got the final bit of paperwork, I think February or March. I've been sitting on it for a few months wondering when's the best time to release it. I guess now is the time. Yeah, the Freedom of Information Act is probably one of the most important pieces of legislation this country or any country has. So basically what I did was I sent them a Freedom of Information request requesting everything that they spoke about at that meeting with regards to George Osborne. I wanted to know how much it cost, what they spoke about, any paperwork, any kind of briefings, anything. They sent me one back a month later saying no, which is fair enough, that they can do that. But then what you do, for those that don't know, if you do send a Freedom of Information request, you can appeal it. So I appealed it. I had nothing better to do. I had my computer open. It was all good. So I sent this off for an internal review, and I have this here. That took, I think, 9 months. I received that in May 2012, and bearing in mind that the meeting that I wanted information from was from June 2011, so this has taken an awful long time just to get this piece of paper. And what's really telling, and the reason I'm up here now, is because they give you exemptions. If they don't want to give you information, they give you exemptions. And the one telling exemption, let me just get to it. Application of exemptions. The reason the Treasury would not give me information about the Bilderberg meetings was because of section 35(1)(a). I have it here, I have it in email. Information relating to the formulation or development of government policy. Exactly. If any of you have been lucky enough to speak to a Bilderberg member in person, on the phone, through email, they say that it's a forum for discussion, it's a talking shop, we're just having coffee and playing golf. I have a piece of paper here that says otherwise, basically. I was kind of upset by that, so what I did was I sent my next request to the Information Commissioner's Office, which is the next port of call, which is a completely separate department up in Cheshire, I think. And I waited another 6 months. I received...
The Lions are kicking off again. I thought, I hope I've got my fucking mortgage with them. It's all ways of making you afraid. If Muslim people were such a threat to white Christians, how comes they've been allowed to corner the market on fucking pizza? I thought that was an Italian thing. I can't. And if it's not terrorism, it's other things. It's drought. Drought! This is fucking England! We're the wettest country in northern fucking Europe! We have more rain than anywhere else! 3 days sunshine to call a fucking drought! Hosepipe bans tomorrow! Summer's fallen on a fucking cider this week! Drought! It's been going on since 1985! If it goes on any longer, Ethiopia will be writing a fucking song for us! This is England! It's not like they don't know it's not going to rain again, do they? Go to Ladbrokes tomorrow and see what odds you can get, and it not raining in Watford for the next fucking 6 months. They'll laugh at you! Drought! And if it's not terrorism, it's not drought, it's on your TV! It's adverts on the telly! Have you seen that one? For strokes, time to act fast. The 4 signs of a stroke: face, sagging, arm, drooping, speech, slurring. Time to act fast. No, it's not. It's time to stop drinking. You're fucking pissed. How irresponsible is that? They show this woman or this bloke with a burning hole in his head like the start of Bonanza. You could be having a stroke now. I'll be like, that's well, there's fuck all wrong with you. I can't see any smoke. And if it's not terrorism, then they keep you in it, because it's all about keeping you in a box, making you afraid. Don't be afraid. There's nothing to be afraid of. If it's not drought, it's not terrorism, it's not adverts, it's other things. Swine flu. Chicken flu. When are we going to have fucking people flu? I went to Glastonbury in 2009 to see Bruce Springsteen and Neil Young. There were 180,000 people there, coughing over each other, spluttering over each other. Fucking holes that weren't intended to be fucked. And nobody came down with swine flu. Do you remember the Oriental lady on the television? We are now going into pandemic number 6. I thought it was a fucking dance. I thought it was like Mambo number 5. And if it's not that, it's other things. They tax every single facet of your life. They tax your clothes, they tax your shoes, they tax your cars, they tax your family, they tax your earnings, they tax your savings, and now they're taxing the weather. And it's your fault according to them. Global warming, I don't know about you, but I'm fucking freezing. 6 weeks ago, I cancelled a show in Lichfield because they had 10-foot snow drifts. Every morning I'm out the windows like that with my aerosol. Fuck the ozone layer. Let's have those rays coming down. Fuck it.
Hey! Infowars.com!
Good
Asking if people can sit down, then more people at the back can see. Thank you. I've been involved in organising this event because thanks to people like David and Alex's work, I've been aware of the Bilderberg meetings for a while, and I went to Channel 4 once during Bilderberg, this is a few years ago, and I said, why aren't you covering the Bilderberg meeting? And the news anchor, who I won't name, said, oh, you're not one of those, are you? We're all one of those, and we know what's going on in there. And it's thanks to people like David's work. So I'm not going to take up any more of your time, but I just want to say thank you so much for being here. By the way, the police thought that there'd be about 300 of us. And credit to you for coming out, and taking the time out and making your voice heard. It means so much, and I'm glad it's been worthwhile. So I think we're going to give an enormous round of applause for Mr. David Icke.
Thank you. And the people gathered to say, enough! You know, this is a historic heresy that has directed and misdirected the lives of humanity for thousands of years. And there's a spirit looking down upon us at the moment, and he's got a big smiling face and he's got a big hat on. And until very recently, we used to know him as Jim Tucker. And Jim Tucker, decades ago, was on the case when no one had virtually heard of the Bilderberg group, let alone what it connects to. And I remember in 1995, long time ago now, that I went to my first Bilderberg location. It was in Switzerland, a place called Bergenstock. And Jim did a round-robin email to not too many people in those days saying the Bilderberg meeting this year is in Bergenstock, Switzerland. Story of my life since my head blew off in 1990. A few weeks earlier, I'd arranged to go and meet and stay with some friends in Switzerland, about 2 hours away. So I went down on the first day. It was a big hotel, there's three of them, the Park, the Palace and the Grand. It's like something out of James Bond. And there were the guys with the name tags on and all that stuff, putting the fences up. There was virtually no one there. In terms of protest, no one. Jim must have been around somewhere, but I didn't see him. And Bilderberg and everything that it stands for is no longer at the top of the mountain where we cannot see it. We are in its frickin' grounds. And it ain't seen nothing yet. I think the best thing that you can do is to realize it ain't you that's mad, it's the world we live in, and it's the people who run it. That's when the penny drops. Because what we've got is a situation where insanity has become normal. And this is how it happens. You're born into a madhouse, but you're told it's sane. You grow up in a madhouse. There's nothing that you ever see that isn't in the madhouse. And so to you, madness is normal. And when someone comes along and says, this ain't normal, this is madness, they say, "You're bloody mad." And you know, the mainstream media, you know, bless their cotton socks, are going to have to come to terms very soon with a simple fact that the person they abused and ridiculed for nearly a quarter of a century was the one who was sane, and the world they believe in is what is insane. Once we realize that dynamic, the world starts to make sense. The world is upside down, and it's full of evil and slaughter and injustice for a simple reason. We, in our sleep up to this point, have allowed evil people to take control of our world. And it's stayed in control through secrecy and by keeping us in ignorance. But suddenly, the ignorance is dispersing. And what's left is the clarity of the situation we face. We live in a world that's upside down. We live in a world that is mad while masquerading as sanity. And I'll give you an example. It's a very topical one. We're sitting here, right? Or I'm standing, of the inversion of this world. Sitting here are thousands of loving, caring people who want peace and justice and fairness in the world. Over there is a hotel full of war criminals, parasites, right? Etc. Bankers. Need I say more? I think I pronounced it correctly. And the police are protecting them from us. Police, you should be protecting us from them. What are you doing? But isn't it funny that so often there are some great policemen, there will be some great policemen around here and some not very nice ones. This is the world we live in. What are you doing? Shall I do a dance to keep it going? Yeah, okay. And so we have a situation where we have police that are very, genuine, although they're being sifted out more and more, and we have police that are not very nice. But what's the point I'm making here is the police are not from the elite 1%. The police are from the people, and yet they gravitate to protect the elite 1%. This is crazy. Police, join us. We are you, you are us. And I'll give you another fantastic inversion. Bombing cities of civilians to protect them from violence. And there's the mainstream, but oh no, it's the Arab Spring, they're fighting for their freedom. I'll tell you what the Arab Spring is in one single sentence. People with brown faces being played off against people with brown faces so that people with white faces can steal their land. That's what it's about. And we have an inversion in the media so much that we actually have a newspaper in this country that is owned by a Russian oligarch and a former employee of the KGB, and it calls itself The Independent. The world is crazy and upside down. Most crazy. The characters in there who are dictating our world day after day, year after year. Look at them! Kissinger! Kissinger! What did he say? I don't know, mate. I've got a clue. I've never understood the word the bloody man said. And there's Rockefeller and all these people have been on. And then there's Mandelson. Mandelson. For people watching who are not from this country, Peter Lord Mandelson was the puppeteer of Tony Blair, known as the Prince of Darkness, not without bloody reason. He'll be in there tonight at dinner, Mandelson, rushing to finish his soup before it clots. You know, have you seen Mandelson? I can't work him out. I've never seen anyone with his nose so far in the air who didn't fall over. He walks around as if he's got a putrid smell under his nose all the time. And of course he has, himself. Oh, Ronaldo, there's a big pong in here. Yes, you, darling. Because, you know, corruption, conspiracy and sleaze, Peter, does tend to stink to high heaven. And I've looked at the physics of Peter Mandelson, and I can only work out this. He has got to have some kind of counterweight connected to his dick to keep him from falling over. He has got to. That's what it is. But look at him! Lord Mandelson is in that hotel helping to dictate our lives. Do you know something? It's not that the tail is wagging the dog. It's not that the tail's wagging the elephant. The tail's wagging the planet in terms of the number of people who are doing it and the number of people having it done to them. And this is a great moment of enough, enough, enough. And I just want to put this thing into context, not least for the mainstream media, because what they do is they treat everything as a dot. If you treat everything as a dot, you don't see the picture. So let's put some dots together. First of all, the Bilderberg group is not the conspiracy. It is a strand in the conspiracy. What we're looking at, dictating our lives and pushing us on into this Orwellian nightmare that they have planned, forget it, is that they have a spider and a web structure. The spider in the center of the web is the inner sanctum that no one ever sees, and they dictate, there's very few of them, they dictate through the spider's web. Now each strand in the web is like a secret society, a corporation. It's an organization of some kind. And immediately around the spider are all the real exclusive ones, some of which don't even have names, because if it doesn't have a name, it's much more difficult to pin it down. And it comes out, and it's still in the hidden. And you come through the upper levels of the Jesuits and Opus Dei and the real upper levels of the Freemasons and the Knights Templar and all these people, and you're coming out in the hidden. And then there's a point, a cusp, where the hidden comes into the scene. And the Bilderberg group stands at that point. Before all this work and toil to expose it, it was much more in the hidden. But we pulled it out, and it's at this cusp where it starts from this way out to the edge of the web. It's now starting to dictate and to connect with organizations we know, governments, government departments, corporations, banking systems, and what have you. And its job is to take the spider's diktats and turn them into policy playing out through governments and other organizations represented in there. That's its job. And to understand the world, we need to understand two things. One, where do they want to take us? And two, how do they want to take us there? Or how are they taking us there? If we know those three things, we become immediately streetwise on a level never close to before. And where they want to take us is into a world fascist, communist, same thing, different name, world fascist, communist dictatorship, which would make Orwell wince. And it would be based on an enormous centralization of power. This starts to answer so many things about the world. When you are a tiny few at the core and you want to control the many, you have to centralize decision making. The more diversified it is, the less control any central point is going to have over those decisions. So what we've seen is an incessant centralization of power in all areas of our lives, and after not very long and quite a way back now, it even got a name: globalization. Globalization is the centralization of power in every area of our lives. There's a man who actually has been given the title, the father of globalization. His name is Peter Sutherland, and he's in there now. Peter Sutherland was the first head of the World Trade Organization, which was designed and set up by the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds to impose massive fines that force countries to open themselves to the merciless world market which they control. That's what globalization's about. We talk about free trade. Free trade? Oh, you must like free trade. It's free. Well, it's not. I'll tell you what free trade is. It's making your products for a few cents on the dollar for people in slum conditions, and then you take them across to the richer countries and you sell them for as much as you get. What free trade is freedom to exploit at both ends of the process. That's what Peter Sutherland has been involved in for decades. Also involved in Goldman Sachs now, stands back in amazement. And so we've had this incessant centralization of power for a simple reason. And it's got faster for this reason. The more you centralize power, the more power you have to centralize quicker. And so the whole thing goes faster and faster and faster. And so, with the European Union, once we crossed the Rubicon of the Lisbon Treaty, they had assembled enough centralized power within the bureaucracy of the EU to push it on faster and faster and faster as they have since. So the idea is the constant centralization of power to this end. They want a world government which would dictate all global policy that meant anything. They would have a world central bank dictating all finance globally. They would have a single electronic currency that would have no cash, for which there are massive implications for freedom. Look at all the stuff now with the technology. You're seeing it. I was writing about this 20 years ago that it was coming. All these smartphones and stuff. Oh, you don't need to go in the bank anymore. Do it online. Oh, do it from your phone. They're creating the cashless society based on a single electronic currency. And the cashless society means this. If you go into a store or a shop now and you hand over electronic money, a credit card, and the system says no, won't accept it, at least for now, though it's going out of fashion so fast, you can pay cash. Once cash is gone, that's the idea, then when that computer says no to your electronic money, your microchip as they ideally want, then it's deciding if you can or cannot purchase. It's about control. That's what it's about. And you see, the euro was never meant to work because they want this single currency, they have to do it in steps. It means that they had all those European currencies, the guilder, the lira, the mark, and all the rest of them. Now, they had to get rid of them on the road to a single global electronic currency. So in comes the euro, and it wiped them all away. Massive step forward to that goal I've been writing about all these years. Now, all they need to do is destroy the euro and the world currency in general, and they'll say, well, what we have to do is we have to have a world currency to sort out this problem. Alongside the world government and world central bank and single currency, they want a world army to impose the will of the world government. Now, we already have a world government de facto. It goes under names like G8 and G20 and all this stuff, UN Security Council. We also have a de facto world army, and it's called NATO, which imposes the will of these people. Send the boys in. So we're seeing it unfold before our eyes, and still the mainstream media can't see it because it can only see dots and not pictures. And there's two techniques that are necessary to understand. Many people will be aware of these here, but I'll go through them for the mainstream media. Because that's the thing, you see. This is the thing. This is what the mainstream media do not understand in their bewilderment at what's happening, is vast numbers of people are now far more informed about the world than they are. This is the point. The first technique I gave the name to a long time ago now, problem, reaction, solution. Real simple. You want to change the world in a way that if you did it openly, there would be a massive response against it. So you don't do it openly. You first of all create a problem which you blame someone else for. 9/11 and all that stuff, a banking crash, a government crash, and you blame it on someone or something else. You then, here we go again, through a unquestioning mainstream media, you pass on your version of that problem to the public, and you're looking at stage 2 for a reaction of fear, of anxiety, of do something, something must be done. And then you, who've covertly created that problem, then offer the solution to the problems you've created. And those solutions are changes in society that advance the agenda towards this structure I'm talking about, that would never have happened without the manipulated problem. There's even a version, Tony Blair's good at these. Tony Blair, yeah. Tony Blair. If there's ever a half-truth in a Blair speech, it's the typing error, okay? But it's an add-on to that technique, an offshoot, which I call no problem reaction solution. This is when you don't need a real problem to justify the solution, you just invent one. Weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. Yeah. Dead simple. Don't need a problem. Invent it. And alongside problem, reaction, solution, its partner almost always hunts together. What I call the totalitarian tiptoe. And then, again, dead simple, and my goodness me, that brings us back to this organization here. You start at A, as they did, and you know you're going to Z. You know where the agenda's leading. But if you go there too quickly, the changes in society are such that people look up and go, what's going on? What's happening? And so you do it in steps, as big as you can get away with, but not so big that you alert too many people. And so what we've seen in the most classic example, which brings us to this organization, so the totalitarian tiptoe is the European Union. We have a European Union centralized bureaucratic dictatorship thanks to the Bilderberg group and its manipulation over decades. The Bilderberg group was created in part by a man called Joseph Rettinger. It just so happens that Joseph Rettinger was one of the major instigators of the European Union. And he worked in creating the initial common market with a man called Jean Monnet, who is still today called the father of Europe, the father of the European project. I have a quote here from a letter by Monnet, one day after I was born, April the 30th, 1952, right at the start of the European project, orchestrated in so great a part through this. And this is what Monnet said in 1952. Europe's nations should be guided towards the superstate without their people understanding what is happening. This can be accomplished by successive steps, each disguised as having an economic purpose, but which will eventually and irreversibly lead to federation. This is not an accident. This is not, oh, we better have a Maastricht Treaty. Shall we have a Maastricht Treaty? It's all projected. Which lends people money that doesn't exist called credit and then charges them interest on it. How can the police stand there and not arrest them? Anyone else lent someone or gave someone something that didn't exist and asked for money for it, their collar would be felt. Bankers, no problem. And the reason is the banking system is absolutely at the foundation of how the enslavement is being played out. Because 2008 was not a crash by accident, it was a crash by design. The world they want is symbolized so perfectly here. They want a world in which there is a tiny, tiny few of mega, staggeringly rich people that have now, again, like globalization, been given a name, the 1%. It's less than that, actually, in the really upper echelons. They want that group running everything and living apart from the rest of humanity, in like a Hunger Games situation with the capitals in the Hunger Games. They then want not a gradual going down of income and wealth from the 1% down into the population. No, no. They want the 1% to come down here, and that's the population. They want one mega rich few and a mass of mega poor people. Now, when you look at the graph today, in America, for instance, it's shocking. Because if you look through the past, there was some kind of gradual incline between the poor and the rich. Now you look at it, they are targeting what they call the middle class, the people that thought they were okay in the world before, and they are crushing them, and the graph goes like that now, and then up so high in the 1% that part of the top of the graph has to be put at the side of the other because it goes off the page. That's where we are now. What's happened is that in the last few years, since 2008, is that crash has been used to do this. It's been used to create a fantastic transfer of wealth from people to these people and the ones they represent. There's unknown in human history. We first of all had the crash. It's a banking problem. Then, oh, and by the way, the people involved in causing that crash were people like Alan Greenspan, head of the Federal Reserve, in league with people like Robert Rubin, who was Clinton's Treasury Secretary, and Timothy Geithner, who was involved with the Federal Reserve Bank. Both of those people are in there now. And when Obama came to power, after these guys had crashed the bloody economy, he appoints Geithner as his Treasury Secretary to sort it out. And what does he do? Stands back in amazement. He decides that hosing money at banks is the way to sort it out. So what we had as a result of that was the transfer of wealth on a fantastic scale from people through governments bailing out the banks to the banks. As a result of that, there was another transfer just shortly after that, which so many people here and around the world will well bloody know. And that was the transfer of the problem from governments to the people through programs of austerity. So, and as a result of what happened in Cyprus, we're going to the next stage now. They're taking governments out of that transfer of wealth from the people to the banks and the elite, out of that, and they're going straight to the bank accounts of the people. And that precedent set in Cyprus means that when the next banking crash comes, they're probably organizing it now, they'll say, well, we can't bail out, government saying, we can't bail out the banks after what's happened in Cyprus. It wouldn't be fair. You've got to go to the bank accounts of the people. And this is the idea. And what they're doing is they are stealing the money of the masses to create this structure that I've just described. And so I say this to people around the world who think they're okay, who think it's not their problem, who think, oh no, I'm making a few quid, I've got a nice house. I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not part of this network, they want your money too. So join us, come together. And there's another connection here, which is really important because it's now really starting to emerge. In there are high-tech people like Eric Schmidt, the executive chairman of Google, who not by coincidence have had a conference at this very hotel very recently. There is a program which has been unfolding for as long as you can see going back, of turning humans into robots, turning humans into software programs. Up to this point, modern times, last few years, it's been done by programming their perceptions so that they see the world the way they want them to see it. If you can program someone's perceptions, you program their belief, you program their behavior. Perception is the stadium on which the whole thing's played out. What they want to do now, and are in the process of doing, is going another stage beyond just programming perception. They want technology inside the human body and interacting with the human body so that the human body ceases to be what it currently is in terms of its ability to perceive itself and the world. And Google is absolutely at the forefront of this. Along with a world government, world central bank, world army, etc., single currency, they want a microchipped population which would have external control of the physical mind, not that there is any physical, mind, body, emotions. Now, what Google is there for is to develop this technology, and people like the Bilderbergers, some of them, especially politicians, are there to sell this technology, is to introduce it into society with us thinking it's a good thing. And you look at now how fast humans have become almost partly connected to machines. You walk down a station platform in the morning. Look at that. It's the thing here. What's that? What is that? Did that grow? Was he born with that? What's going on? You know. Oh, I'm just going to Twitter. I'm just going to Twitter the fact that I'm going to the toilet and I'll be back in a minute. All right. Are you going to tell them if it's a number one or a number two? I mean, there's too much information, man, you know.
Inside there now are the sons and daughters and the children of some of the most evil people this world has ever seen, a true synthesis of evil. But out here is a true synthesis of free humanity facing them. And they are watching us now on the live video streams that are at Infowars.com and other sites. They are watching the streams at DavidIcke.com and WeAreChange.org. They are watching those streams, and they will be watching these videos next week and next month because they know that this signifies the beginning of the end of their tyranny. The free people of Earth, unified against the transhumanist globalists, will shake off these Lilliputties like the small demonic creatures they are. So make no mistake. They are watching now, and we are watching. And our message to the Bilderberg Group and the global crime syndicate that they represent is that humanity is awake and staring and aware of your crimes, and nothing on earth is going to stop the judgment of justice that is coming down on you now. Now I'm going to get into some pretty scary points here in a moment, but it's in facing these terrible truths that we have a chance to turn the tide. We have the initiative. We have the future. We will win if we want to. And I know in my heart and in my mind we will. The question is how tough is it going to be? But just remember, like ripples in a pond, everything we do here today, everything you do, goes on forever. And that's why it's so important that all of you came here, but it's so important that you realize, many of you do, that you are the resistance, that you are the future, that it is you that is going to control your destiny, working with other like minds. And that's why we have to salute people like Westbrook Pegler, more than 55 years ago, first reporting on Bilderberg when they didn't even know what the name was. And then Jim Tucker for 36 years, who just died about 4.5 weeks ago. In his home of Georgia, who tirelessly traveled the world and was shot at and arrested and demonized, and the media would laugh at him and say, this crazy guy's going around saying some group of royalty and banking and the tops of academia are meeting in secret. Why, that's illegal. That can't be happening. It doesn't exist. Just 4 years ago, the New York Times wrote that I was in Chantilly, Virginia, walking around in a hotel grounds like this, imagining Bilderberg. This is while there were helicopters, police, four-wheelers, Marines, Secret Service aiming MP5 submachine guns at us, and the New York Times thought the American people were such stupid scum that they told them it didn't exist. And by the way, the New York Times is a shadow of its former self, and so are all the other globalist organs, because the people know that they're being lied to, thanks to the truth tellers and the trailblazers that came before us. So we salute Jim Tucker. Your work will live on forever. And make no mistake, what we're doing here today will live on forever. The fact that they even have to admit that there are groups above government and that there are special interests. For those of us that have been awake for a while, that's comically simple. But for a lot of people, if they admit that's going on, then they've got to get up off their butts. Then they've got to investigate. Then they've got to find out what's happening with the austerity. They've got to find out how their tax money is going to people that control trillions of dollars and are worth hundreds of billions of dollars. Then they've got to discover from that area, that entrance of the rabbit hole, what comes next. And that's why it's the beginning of the end of these people, if we want it. Because they are committed to their program of austerity and world poverty and war and tyranny as a tool of control. And it's their dark, wicked nature. They enjoy it. They've written books about it. They think you're too stupid and won't even read what they've said, what they've done. The White House science czar writes 1,100-page books like Icke Science, bragging about spiking your water with sterilants and carcinogens. It's funny to them. They think you're too stupid to even understand it's going on. So if they tell you it doesn't exist, you'll just shut up and go away. But we're not going away. And once you realize that they're playing mind game, and once you realize it's a hoax, and you go through that, there's no putting the genie of liberty back in the bottle. Again, it is over for the globalists, one way or another. Now, I showed this on my TV/radio show yesterday when David Icke was in studio with me, and I held up the London Independent from 30% of people in the UK, 40% will have cancer by 2020. 40% of the people that live here will have cancer by then. They showed the graph and the statistics. It's actually going to be far worse than that. And there's no discussion of why are the pediatric cancers in the U.S., England, and other areas up thousands of percentile points. Why do we lead the world in breast cancer? Thousands of percentage points above Latin America and other countries. And the list just goes on and on and on. And then you go research what the Rockefellers were into in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. And then you discover all the major university studies and the whole plan that they have been putting cancer viruses. That's why there's hundreds of new bizarre cancers that never existed. That's why 50 years ago, I've talked to medical doctors, 30 years ago, doctors would fly across the country to see a child with cancer. Now I can walk out my front door and see children with cancer playing in the playground anytime I go there, with their chemotherapy, roach poison injectors hooked up to them, with their parents in sorrow knowing they're going to die and not going to make it. And these are the eugenicists on record. The leadership of Bilderberg are literally putting cancer viruses in your children's vaccines. They are putting hydrofluorosilicic acid, major Harvard studies, they have known forever that massively increases cancer, massively increases IQ reduction, and that's because these people are not Nazis. These people made the Nazis. You understand that? The Nazis were kind of like a mafia family, one of the other capos that got in the way. A group they actually told, you're going to be given the power to take over the world and set up the European Union, Adolf, and Britain's going to join you in the peace treaty we have with you, and then we're going to take the world over together. And Edward VIII and all the rest of this, the King of England was an admitted Nazi in Germany when the war started. They double-crossed even the royal family, who thought they were going to be the heads of a new fascist white supremacist order worldwide. That's the incredible information that's mainline history, but you will not see it on the History Channel. And I was here just a few days ago with the European Union Member of Parliament, Mr. Batten, and there he was in German quoting the 1938 Nazi German plan for the unified steel agreement and then free trade agreement that would be used to covertly set up a European Union to implode all the sovereignty of the countries that they had not invaded by force and taken over at the end of World War II. The European Union was a plan developed and deployed and given to the Nazis by the robber baron banks that financed him on record to then implode the world economy worldwide, have the German Axis powers come in with the new currency, and then enslave those nations financially to then use social planning as a way through vaccines and other... Give me the bullhorn! Got a power out of there, but never fear, little bullhorn is there. Anyways, I'm talking to this European Union Member of Parliament, and I mentioned to him that the EU was an Axis plan. The EU, the whole plan, the Treaty of Rome, the Treaty of Britain, all of these treaties that led up to it after the war, those had actually, word for word, been the Nazi Axis plan to take over the countries that they hadn't invaded, to pressure them into an economic slavery. And this is the plan now that they have been following for 60 years plus, and they've done a really good job of taking over most of the planet. And they did a really good job of keeping the public in the dark about their plans. But now, when a major member of the EU Parliament and members of the UK Parliament and of the German Bundestag are all in the newspapers, and the head of the Italian Supreme Court is in the newspapers, say Bilderberg was founded by Nazis with the CIA and British intelligence at the end of World War II with a plan to take over the world, just like the West adopted the rocket plans of the Nazis and the intelligence operation plans of the Nazis, and even our military wears the Kurzel helmet of the Nazis.
That's right, you're all right.
Because Germany had been most successful via the Kaiser Wilhelm Institute before Hitler even came to power, adopting the Rockefeller genocide world program of Malthusianism and social Darwinism established right here in the middle of England and then transplanted all over the world. Family courts, taking your children en masse all over the place. Those are unconstitutional under common law. Eugenics courts. Go check your local family court. See when it was established. 1900, 1905, 1910. Same thing in Germany. Same thing in the United States. Same thing in Mexico. It is designed to destroy the family, to destroy humanity, and to dissolve the entire culture of the world and have us all be state-programmed individuals cut off from our fellow humans so that we can't work together to bring these murdering scumbags to justice. And I'll say it right here, right now. The programs of depopulation that have been leaked on record that are carried out by the Bilderberg Group and State Department memorandums, 200 and other systems are taking place against all of us. The hydrofluorosilicic acid or fluoride out of your water is an assault of a chemical weapon on you and your family. All of the major genetically modified BT-style crops that Bill Gates deploys, and he's one of the secret visitors this year and been on record, one of the members of Bilderberg for over a decade, those are on record sterilizing and giving cancer to every rodent species they're fed to. The honeybees can't eat it. If they do, they die, ladies and gentlemen. The fluoride, the geoengineering, the GMO, the vaccines, all of it is designed to kill us. And here's what's going to happen. If you keep getting the word out about this, just like we've gone from 1 in 25,000 with autism in the West to 1 in 50-something, people are finally waking up to that. Just like as cancer explodes thousands and thousands of percentage points and people discover, well, there are government documents they put cancer viruses in the vaccines. There are government documents admitting they put fluoride in the water to lower our IQ, fertility, and to give us cancer. As people discover all this, they're going to know and they're not going to care. These cops, every one of these cops, within 6 years, 40% of them will have cancer. Now, seriously. Now, by 2030, it'll be more like 70%. So these cops will remember when they're burying their young child of cancer. And they'll say, oh, this cancer never existed 20 years ago, but all the kids are getting it now. Let's not discuss why it's happening. Let's discuss donating money to find the cure. Maybe like if somebody was stabbing people tonight, like Jack the Ripper, let's find a way to heal people that have been stabbed instead of finding out who is Jack the Ripper. You understand that? They don't want you to know who's killing you. So listen, these minimum wage security guards, the bobbies out there on the horses, the minions, hey, they're just like us. They will die young. Their children will die. Their husbands will die. Their wives will die. Their loved ones are being murdered. Most of us are already walking dead, soft killed by the water, the GMO. They've already sliced 10, 20, 30 years off our life. It's on record, a 20-year-old now is like a 40-year-old. Most of us are already walking dead. But here's the thing. If they shoot us like Nazis in a pit and people see that, they'll fight back. If they hit us with a soft kill weapon that takes a long time to kill us, and then they make all the money through the National Health Service that's privatized, sucking everything out of your family as you sell your house, sell your car, get rid of everything to go give it to them when their bosses injected you with cancer viruses and put deadly hydrofluorosilicic acid in your water to kill you. Every one of us here, they're just firing weapons right into us. Bioweapons, chemical weapons. They're just firing electromagnetic weapons into all of you. They hate you. They're up there thinking right now, intensify operations. But sir, they'll notice if we don't turn up the ambient kill system slowly. They're already waking up. They're out there right now realizing what we're doing to them. Now I want to ask you a question. I want to ask you a question. I want to ask you a question. Do you take it personally that they're on record saying they want to reduce world population by at least 80%, and that many of these people have openly bragged that they're putting chemical and biological weapons in the food chain to kill us with horribly debilitating diseases? Do we take that personal? Then say it with me. I'm going to say it once, we're going to say it over and over again. As I wanted to hear it, I want you to direct it that way. We know you are killers. We know you are killers.
We know you are killers. We know you are killers. We know you are killers. We know you are killers. We know you are killers. We know you are killers. We know you are killers. We know you are killers. We know you are killers.
And we know you are killers. Something about it. And we are doing something about it. We are doing something right now. Hey, I tell you what, my camera person, why don't you come back here with the live stream and walk around the back and show everybody this huge crowd of people, thousands and thousands.
BBC. It's not news now, is it? You're a conspiracy theorist.
Are you?
Oh, well,
do you come today? Pardon?
We're all into the conspiracies.
Oh, of course, yeah. What's your view?
The thing is, they're no longer theoretical, are they? They're no longer a theory, they're a conspiracy. And what do we do with conspiracy? A conspiracy is something that is very naughty. And people should be locked up for it. I think they used to, didn't they used to hang, draw and quarter people for conspiracy in the past? They did, yeah. And that doesn't seem to happen anymore, especially not to very naughty people.
Did you hear Alex and David talk?
Unfortunately not, but David came out and had a quick chat with us whilst we were in the queue, because we've been in a holding town for 2 hours.
We'd hope for an interview with him.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
People trying to get in. I'm in the way. Alex was still being trust me, he's coming out. What's happening here?
Anyone smell bacon?
You?
Look at this handsome face.
Policing the police today.
Should be on like a stamp or something or a coin.
I do that a lot.
I thought you was behind. Right, let's call it a day.